Tourists kill Venice. Now you don't need to pay for your visit to Venice. This is such a utopian idea. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to talk about a very peculiar topic for me, because a few days ago I stumbled upon an article called "If you love Venice, don't go there." And obviously I was curious and I decided to read it. And you know, the whole article pretty much reflected its name, conveying the thought that tourists kill Venice. I don't know if it's true or not. Honestly, I find it difficult to talk about it because I don't live Venice, I'm not from there. However, as someone who loves Venice and as someone who goes there pretty often, I feel like I have a few thoughts to share. And if you're curious to hear my thoughts, bear with me guys, and let's get into the video. So the author suggested that tourists stop coming to Venice so that locals can come back and claim the city once again. According to the author, many locals had to leave Venice, had to leave their homes behind and move to the province, to other big cities in Italy in search of better job opportunities. That might be true because obviously the job market in Venice is very peculiar. And also in 2008 there were about 60,000 locals living in Venice, while now there are about 50,000 locals living in Venice. So yeah, the difference is quite big. The author however claimed that Venice would be better off without tourists. And I personally feel like this is such a utopian idea. First thing first, without tourists, Venice risks going into decline because tourism is the main industry there, whether you like it or not. That's just the fact. Locals leave thanks to the tourists. Is it possible to build other industries in the city, to develop other industries in the city? Yes, obviously. However, it will probably take years to develop a new industry. You cannot build a brand new economy overnight. And what would locals do in all those years? You know, if they don't have the tourism industry, they need jobs, they need to get money somewhere. And you know, while they wait for a new industry to be built, that might be a difficult time for them. Also, I feel like it might be quite complicated to build another industry in Venice due to its peculiar location and peculiar landscape. So you know, that's something to consider. I've been to Venice during the pandemic. Was it nice walking in half-empty streets? Yes, obviously. It was nice, but honestly surreal. However, I talked to locals who own business there. And while they all agreed that it was nice having the city all to themselves or to Italian tourists, local tourists, they all complained because people didn't have enough money to survive. People had to borrow things to survive. People didn't have money for basic things, you know, guys? New York Times had a very interesting article where they interviewed locals who weighed pros and cons of not having tourists during the pandemic, and most of them agreed that it was better when there were tourists. Historically, Venice has always been the center of a prosperous republic. It has been a main hub, financial, commercial hub. However, from the moment when the trade was moved toward the Atlantic and the Mediterranean was not such an important place for all the commercial trade and everything, Venice risked going in decline. From the 18th century, however, Venice became an obligatory stop for the famous Grand Tour, when European tourists started going there to see the Italian wonder as tourists, yes, just as tourists, just traveling there for entertainment out of curiosity. And basically, yes, they somehow saved the economy of Venice while also laying ground for today's future and present of Venice shaped by tourism. Did you guys actually know that Lord Byron and Stendhal were among the first tourists in Venice, holiday makers in Venice? And not related to Venice especially, but it is actually related to all of the Italian cities. There were other Italian cities that were important stops for this grand tour, and I feel like these cities are these important touristic centers today thanks to that grand tour, because of that grand tour. I don't know really. However, Verona was another important stop there, and if you haven't seen my vlog from there, I will leave you a link up here because I've talked about places that were important for the 18th century travelers in Verona in my grand tour. And now you know that both Verona and Venice were those very desirable places as they are today, basically. Guys, I just want to remind you that this video, similar to my other videos, is not sponsored by anybody. However, YouTube has recently activated the super thanks function on my channel. You can find it below near the like button. And if you want to support my channel, you can absolutely use it. I'd be super grateful if you do, because like that I can travel more and see all the hidden corners in Italy and film them for you so I can share them here. That would be absolutely awesome. There is an important thing to understand, guys. Venice is unique. It will never stop attracting visitors because of its uniqueness, because of its beauty. It's just impossible that tourists stop going there. And obviously there are tourists that are problematic, that are disrespectful, and I personally fully support all the measures taken to contain these tourists, if you know what I mean. I fully support finding disrespectful tourists. I fully support tightening police controls. And honestly, this problem exists in other important touristic cities as well, and they all try to fight these disrespectful tourists by fining, by controlling them. And yeah, I fully support this decision. However, guys, a little disclaimer, this might be just my personal opinion, but I feel like tourists are not the biggest problem in Venice. Honestly, the city council should probably do more to make Venice livable for its citizens, to make it a pleasant place for the locals. Because let's be honest, let's agree on that, city council is also interested in attracting tourists because they also get the money from it. But maybe, just maybe, city council should put its citizens first. I feel like it should all be about balance, you know, maybe charging tourists for their entry is not such a bad idea after all. But you know what? This idea has been postponed once again. Now you don't need to pay for your visit to Venice. This idea could have been a really good solution, and it should have been adopted years ago. However, we have what we have. Another thing is transportation and circulation in the city. For a city with so many visitors, there are not enough vaporetti. Because these water trams that transport people from one part to another, there are so few of them. And they are so crowded. I know people who visited Venice recently and they had to wait 40 minutes for an available vaporetto. I usually don't use them when I'm in Venice. I prefer walking because they're always so crowded and you have to wait them. However, if you want to go to the Isles, it's basically inevitable that you need to take a vaporetto unless you want to pay 50 euros for a taxi, but that's the topic for another time. However, guys, I remember a few years ago when I wanted to go to Burano and I had to take a vaporetto and it was overcrowded. It was impossible. The solution would be either to increase the amount of vaporettos, because increasing the amount of vaporettos will not automatically increase the amount of tourists, and you know, it will just make them less crowded and way more pleasant, or suggesting alternative transportation options, which I know is probably a bit more difficult in Venice. However, I feel it's possible, and you know, taking real action, offering real solutions would probably be a better option than suggesting people just don't go there. Another thing that article talked about was the lack of authenticity in Venice. Well, that's true. There are lots of crappy souvenir shops selling you crappy souvenirs for big money. However, guys, let's think about it for a minute. Seemingly there is some request for it, because otherwise there wouldn't have been the offer. If there are these shops, it means people buy these cheap souvenirs for big money. However, if people stop buying them, that would be known. There are authentic shops, there are authentic places, authentic cafes and restaurants in Venice. However, you need to look for them. And trust me, you'd be so surprised if you just wander a little bit further from the city center and find these very nice authentic places, authentic shops that sell you authentic things made in Venice, not just cheap souvenirs. The last point of the article said that there are no locals working in Venice, and it basically is full of foreign underpaid workers. Now, I don't want to pretend that I know the situation very well, and I can absolutely believe that there are lots of foreign workers that are underpaid and working in terrible work conditions. However, saying that there are no locals working in Venice? Are you kidding me? I've been to Venice so many times and I know people who are from Venice, who are basically from Venice, you know, and who still live there and who still work there, and they are pretty happy with their jobs. Yes, obviously they work in the tourist industry because, as I said before, it's not that there are other jobs there in Venice, and that's a different topic, that's a different thing. However, there are locals in Venice, they work there, they have all these authentic shops and authentic bars or restaurants, and they work there, they are the owners or working there or both. And you know, guys, it's about the perspective, it's about what you're looking for. If you know where to look, you will absolutely find these authentic places and authentic people, locals. And guys, if you are interested in finding authentic places in Venice, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I would love to film a video about authentic Venice with all these authentic places and authentic areas where you won't find crowds of tourists, you know. And also I will leave you a link up here to one of my recent vlogs from Venice where I walked around the areas and the quarters that are not touristy at all, and I will leave you more videos about Venice in the description box because, as I said before, I love Venice and I know that it could be very unique, very authentic and not touristic at all. And that's it for today, guys. I just want to remind you that Venice is unique, Venice is beautiful, it's absolutely fantastic, and I personally would never be able to tell you not to go there because this is definitely the city to visit at least once in your lifetime. This is the place that you have to see if you think of yourself as a traveler. However, if you're going there, I just beg you to be respectful because both the city and its people deserve some respect that sadly some tourists fail to show. However, guys, if you're going to Venice and you're being respectful and you're being mindful, I don't think there is any problem with tourists, honestly. Being curious and being open-minded will give you a totally different view of Venice, but being respectful and being mindful of the people living there and of the city will make a caring tourist of you, and I think that this is the kind of tourist that Venice would love to see. Having said that, guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button to get the notifications of all the upcoming videos, including the one from Venice. Tell me in the comments, what do you think about tourists in Venice? Do you think it's overcrowded? I'm really curious to find out your opinion on the topic. As always, don't forget to put a thumbs up, comment and share this video with your friends so I can make more videos like this. Thank you guys for being here and enjoy your day.